The idea of just erasing student debt at one point made sense. The reason why it stopped making sense was that student loans got backed by the government. And that's an issue because when the government backs it, you can't BK it. It started off with George H. Bush, a 1992 Reauthorization Act of the Higher Education Act of 1965. They wanted to help out women and minorities. They always balled us up and they never really paid attention to what we needed. But nonetheless, they were trying to do good. And this is great. We want people to go to school. There's no point in having a country full of idiots. Bill Clinton set it in phase during the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1990. Passed legislation preventing the switch from 100% direct lending. At one point, the government covered everything. Then at one point, they didn't cover everything. If you didn't qualify for a regular loan from a bank, you could go to the government and get a loan from the bank or from the government. The problem with those loans is that one, they're way too high and they should come with way more stipulations and rules because the government doesn't make any money. The government doesn't have a store, merch, music. The government doesn't have no products. The money that the government hands out, they took from you and your taxes and gave it to somebody else. That's the gist of it. The government doesn't make money. So if you're going to hand out my money to educate people, it better be for an education that's going to be productive to society. They're charging you at a high premium for probably the most mediocre education that you can get. So Obama, he was able to tie in student loans into Obamacare, which didn't make any sense to me. He organized all new loans under the direct loan program effective July 1st, 2010, and that was enacted with the Healthcare Act. What does that have to do with health? Do you understand that people are borrowing obscene amounts of money to go to these fucking schools that aren't teaching anything but feelings, and you cannot get a job with feelings? You can't. Our kids are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to come out of school to get a job that they can't get because it's looking for 7 years experience, you knowing somebody, things that are just not even obtainable. Now, when you use the government to back the loan, the government won't BK you. We're at 1.8 trillion in debt. It's not that bad, right? Just 1 trillion, which is like 100 million thousand billions or 100,000 billion. These laws don't make any sense. You shouldn't back any education that isn't productive. I think going to school should be job-based. I don't see any other reason to go to school. If you want to make friends, go to Walmart. School is to get a job. See, you go to school and get a degree for $120,000, right? That's cool. You get out, you can't find a job. The best you can do is minimum wage. You take anything. You're not even in the field you went to school for. If Biden is canceling loans for disabled people, this is the stupidest shit that I ever heard of. Because this is basically Peter, Rob, and Paul. Who pays disability checks? The government. Who's funding these student loans? The government. So if you are a disabled American and you already are getting subsidized income because you can't work, how the fuck are we gonna dock that pay that we're giving you to pay a loan that we gave you? What? Do you see how stupid that is? If you're disabled, you can't make money. How are you gonna pay back a loan that we funded? There's people out there that have been paying their loans for 15, 20 years in debt, can't get a house. Who knows what the case may be? There's no relief because the government backing the loan makes the loan useless and invalid. No bank is gonna be able to make any money off of you. You shouldn't have took that loan.